Oh, my friends, thanks for coming. The other night I was at a holiday party with a retired hospice nurse, and she was talking about her mission was to prevent suffering as a human spirit transitioned um, from the body. And so that sparked my interest in looking at a meditation I did on life force, which said that humans here, one of our biggest goals is to not suffer, to avoid suffering. But life is still worth it, even with the predation, the starvation, the exploitation. Life is very unique in universe. And they were talking about why. Because life force is generated by our planet. Life force is what animates the elements of earth, air, fire, and water here. And we think of life as the form that life takes and not the energy that is constantly revived, renewed. It's always transferred from one form to another. And we can see this primarily with eating. One form eats another. But let's get back to suffering for a minute, because we've all seen the wildebeest, a migration in Africa, where the wildebeest have to cross a river where there are crocodiles. And the crocodiles grab a hold of these wildebeests and mostly legs and like drag them into the water to drown them. I mean, it's really gruesome. It's really hard to watch because we're projecting suffering in that predation. And yet in predation, and I know this from a couple of different angles, when the spirit, the self-awareness, the sentience leaves the form or the vessel containing the life force, there is life force still in that. So there is a separation of the sentience from the life force that is still animating the carcass. Now, we know this from any animal that we watch being predated. But I also know this from my work with the deceased, where many people in spirit have told me that they did not experience the pain of when the car hit the abutment, causing their death. They did not experience the pain of well, let's just stick with car accidents, okay? They were already out of their body. And I died in 2008, and I know that. For a while I was just floating up above my body, and then I went further away. So I was not, and the great thing about dying is I was finally out of pain, right? That was the real perk, as anybody who's died will tell you. It can be briefly very painful. And then once your consciousness is completely out, you're not experiencing the pain the way you were experiencing it before. There's another thing about life force that I'd like to talk to you about. My husband is a funeral director and embalmer. And what happens in the physical body, even when we're pronounced dead or deceased, there is still life in our body. Now, our body is this ecology inside that we just don't see. We're just not aware of it. I mean, if you think, spirit is invisible, the life inside the body, what's going on in the body really is invisible to us, right? So there is something after And I'm going to use the word carcass, and I hope it doesn't offend anybody. The human carcass heats up after death. And what that is cellular activity. The cells are trying to keep the body alive. And it's called autolysis. And it's so surprising. When my husband goes to do a removal, the body may be like incredibly hot instead of what we think of as cold and rigored. And that is the life force, because life force really doesn't want to leave the form. The sentience or consciousness may be gone, but the life force is still trying to be there. Now, of course, the life force is always transferred or transformed. Humans, we don't think that we're part of this earth. And there's a reason for that. Actually, humans are seeded in from other star systems where there is nothing like this to experience anymore. Like the ETs that are surrounding our planet. Their interest in our planet is because they've already destroyed theirs. And they're really hoping that life survives humans here. But that's off the subject a little bit. We're not indigenous. We have those 2 extra chromosomes. Indigenous means of this earth, by this earth, for this earth. We, as an invasive species, are utilizing the materials of the earth and the life force that is available here. But we're really not of the earth. And I think that's why we can stand to destroy our mother the way we're doing it now. So let's get back to the definition of living and dead. If you're looking at life force, it completely redefines what alive and dead is, because we still contain life force after we're pronounced dead. And that's kind of one of the things I wanted you to play with in your own mind today. And see if you've ever had the experience of being, like if you were in pain or if you were in a life-threatening situation, of completely leaving your body, because I have. And, but the body is still trying to stay alive. Okay, so thank you for coming. And until I see you again, please be well and please be blessed.